Hello, everyone, and welcome to season 2 of the Rejection Diaries. Today, I am joined by Krystal Snead, and we're going to be talking a little bit about her writing journey, the trials and the tribulations, the highs and lows of being a writer, and what Krystal's experience of that has been. So, first of all, hi, Krystal. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Stuart. Lovely to be here.
Just first of all, it would be lovely if you could tell everyone just a little bit about you and your writing and sort of what got you into becoming a writer.
Yeah, so I've always done writing since being a child. It's something that I used to always do in my spare time. Mainly, I used to try and write fiction, adult fiction. And then when I had my own children and I started reading picture books, I found that I really fell in love with this area, and I really wanted to get involved myself. So I've been writing now for about 3 years. I've really been sort of dedicating my time to it and really trying to get published. I committed my first picture book to page back in March 2018. So it's been a few years, but along the way, I've been trying to really work on my craft. I've done quite a few courses with Right Mentor and various other things, and just I've really been enjoying the journey and just getting involved with the community and everything.
And what is it you write, Krystal?
Mainly I write picture books, but I write all different kinds of picture books. So I do fiction, I do non-fiction, humorous, more sort of serious issues. So quite a range really. But I do write other things as well. So I've also had a go at chapter books and various other things, middle grade. But I've only really submitted picture books because that's the one that I'm really interested in getting published with at the minute. So all my experiences around the submissions and rejections are in the picture book.
Which is really good, actually. It's really interesting because a lot of the people listening will be picture book writers themselves. And obviously all my experience with Rejection is on the novel side. So it'll be really interesting to listen to your experiences and to share that with everyone. Tell us a little bit then about sort of your journey from when you started writing back in March 2018 until now. What have you written? What have you submitted? Who and where? Well, don't give us any names, but where have you submitted your work to, and how's that going for you?
Yes, I think I made the mistake that a lot of writers make when they first start out. And as soon as I wrote my first picture book, I thought this was brilliant. I'll get snapped up straight away. I set myself a little plan. I was going to get an agent within a year and get published within 2 years, and I had absolutely no idea what I was doing whatsoever. But so from March in 2018, I sent out my first load of submissions in the September of that same year. So, really, really too soon. And I got some very nice rejections about a month later, which kind of motivated me, I think, more than anything else. I thought, okay, I feel like part of the crew now. I've got my first rejection, my first sort of badge of honour. Let's keep going with this. So very quickly sent out some more. When I got the next lot of rejections, I thought, right, okay, I need to perhaps learn a bit more about what I'm doing, where I'm going wrong. And one of the first things I did was actually I joined a critique group. And I met some really fabulous writers. I feel really lucky to be in this critique group with some amazing writers. And they were the first people really that I met that were writers. So the first people I could really share my experiences with. And that's been really invaluable in this whole experience. But yeah, it's been up and down over the 3 years. I've had some brilliant highs when I think I've really nailed a story and I've really got out of it what I wanted to, and that's been, I think, they're the best bits for me, is when you get some really great feedback from your critique partners and they say you've nailed it this time, it's brilliant. That's the a real high. And obviously the lows as well, when you don't perhaps get the reaction that you want to get from something. And I think with the rejections as well, the biggest lows have been when perhaps I felt that I'm close, when I've maybe made a made a connection with an agent in a one-to-one or something like that, or I think that I've got a story that they're asking for in their wish list, so I think I'm close. And then those are the rejections that really hit hardest.
Yeah, they get you here.
Yeah.
So for you then, so what you know, you don't have to share anything you don't want to, but when you get one of those types of rejections, you know, ones where you feel that you're really close, or that you know, you feel like it's something that the agent would want, how do you respond to that? What's your sort of gut reaction, and how do you respond in the days that follow that?
Yeah, I think it's different dependent on the particular story or the particular agent. So I don't have one sort of go-to method that works. I have like a tool bag really of different things that I'll try. I mean, the first thing that I always do is I get on WhatsApp and I tell my writer friends, you know, I've had another one, and they'll know the backstory as well. So they'll know this is an agent that I particularly felt good about, and that this one will be perhaps one that I'm struggling with the most. So they'll know, I think, more than anybody else, they know what to say to make me feel better. So that's normally my first sort of go-to. Now I do have several other tricks. So I've got some visual aids, my Blue Peter moment. So the first one is, this is a real scrappy piece of paper, but this is genuinely what I use. So rewards. So I don't know if you can see that on there, but this is my rejection bingo.
Oh,
and this
amazing.
has been on the fridge for about 12 months, so that's why it's quite, I just think that you can see it. That's quite crumpled up and everything. But yeah, so if I get a rejection and it's got on here, like, you know, if it's a form rejection or if it's a personalised rejection, I'll cross it off, and then when I get a line, I'll give myself a little reward. That might be, you know, a bar of chocolate or a trip out or something like that, something that I want. So that's sort of a fun thing to do to make myself feel a little bit better. I've also got, moving on to the next visual aid. So this one is about remembering who you're writing for, really, who the reader is, because of course, you know, we all want an agent and we all want to get published and things, but we don't really write for agents. One of the most common piece of feedback I've had lately is that perhaps my writing's good and my stories are good, but they're not commercial enough to really break me into the market at the minute. So sometimes I have to go back and remember, well, who am I writing it for? And this is what, if you can see this one, this is, well, earlier this year I longlisted for the Right Mentor Children's Novel Award. And this is actually the feedback that I received from the readers. So I've got that in a little frame just to remember that, you know, they said some lovely things about my writing, and that really gave me a boost. So I'll go back and look at things like that. And the other one, this is a new one to my toolkit. So about a month ago, I was having a particularly difficult time with it. I was getting no responses, and I was having no ideas either, which I think is always difficult when you're submitting if you've got nothing else to be writing. So I was having a particularly low time, and I actually put this podcast on. So I was on a walk, I'd just done a school run, and I had this on while I was walking, and I was listening to you talking, Stuart, about CBT. It was when you were talking about CBT. And I think I'm quite similar in a way to what you were saying, that I always tend to focus on the negative things. If I get some feedback, I'll hold on to the negative, and the positive's gone quite quickly. So after listening to that, I started this little diary, and this is my positivity diary. So the only things that go in here are good things. So I'll show you if you can see there.
Oh, amazing.
So I put in each day, so any progress that I make. I put about what my mood's like as well, because I think that's something that I forget, is how happy writing makes me. It's easy, isn't it, to dwell on the negative things, but I put that, you know, I'm feeling good. I've put here a smiley face, the joy of a new idea, you know, how good that makes me feel. Any notable events. So if I get longlisted for something, or if I'm doing a new course, something like that. If I've got champagne rejections, put them all on there. But the bit is I also put all of the positive feedback that I get, so whether that's from critique partners or from agents who are kind enough to send me a few lines of feedback, and that's just something that I can flick through and remember that even though agents are sending me no's at the minute, they are saying nice things about me. So my writing's okay. I'm not there yet, but it's a decent standard, and that's something that I think we have to try and remember, don't we? It's difficult sometimes to remember that, but yeah. So holding on to the positive.
Yeah, that's amazing. Honestly, like I was getting a bit emotional there as you were going through all that stuff because, it's so true. It's such good advice. I was laughing a little bit at the rejection bingo, but it's such a good idea. And then obviously the feedback. I can't believe. I guess when I'm on this side of things, I'm not necessarily always remembering that the individual will treasure, the feedback they're getting or whatever so much, and that's lovely to see. And then obviously, I'm so pleased you're doing the positivity diary because, especially with it's so easy with how life can be and writing can be that you linger on those things that are not so good about it. And that's wonderful to see, and actually listening. This is what I was really looking forward to. But this is I can see already things that I could be learning from you and the way that you're approaching querying and rejection and just your everyday writing process. That diary is such a good idea. I think people listening to this will use that hopefully. So thanks for sharing that, Krystal.
I think it's if something's not working for you as well, try something different. If your usual bar of chocolate or whatever isn't picking you up this time, it's particularly bad rejection, well, try something else. Find the thing that works that time.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant. I went from funny to a bit emotional to really happy and joyful at the third thing that you showed us and shared with us there today. So what are you working on at the moment? What's the bit of work that you're going to be querying again at some point soon?
At the minute I am working on a non-fiction picture book. Something that I'm really enjoying actually, because although I've done sort of narrative non-fiction before, this is something completely new, and it's a whole different way of approaching writing. I'm having to do a lot of research, which I'm actually really enjoying. It's going to be like a biographical one, so I'm learning some amazing stories about some people in history that I've never heard of, and their stories I think they really need to get out there because they're just amazing. So I'm really enjoying that, and I've also got a few other things that will be resubmitting again after a few edits. I've had some sort of positive feedback from agents, from one-to-ones and things like that, that I'm just sort of working on and trying to get them back out again. So keeping going with it. That
sounds good. Yeah, and what do you think you have learned from your previous experiences of querying and dealing with the rejection that comes with it that will help you as you do that again in the future? What will former self teach future self about querying going forward?
I think just don't be so hard on yourself. I tend to take everything to heart. Like I said in the beginning, I had quite high expectations from the beginning. Perhaps they were unrealistic. But I mean, I've actually brought some stats as well that I've
brilliant.
through my submissions and things. Sort of looking at pre-pandemic and post-pandemic, because I think there's been a big shift in that. I don't know if you've found the same thing, Stuart.
Yeah.
But just from the response times alone, so. Pre-pandemic, on average, the response time was taking about 4 to 6 weeks, generally. Post-pandemic, I'm finding it's more sort of 12 weeks before I'm really getting any responses. So I think that I've got to take that on board as well, not checking my emails constantly, because the chances are, the first month at least, I'm not going to hear anything back. So why punish myself so much? The other thing as well is the actual responses. So I'm finding most agents now aren't sending a response at all. So my figures are, in pre-pandemic I sent 34, and I received more than half. I received 28 responses back. So that's pretty good response rate. Post-pandemic, I sent out 21, and I've only received 10 back. So that's quite a big drop, and I'm assuming that's to do with the volume of work that agents, are looking at the minute. Maybe that'll change, but I think, so from my point of view, I think it's really about adapting to that and not expecting a response and not expecting one to be quick, to really help my mindset.
Yeah, that's really good advice, actually, because you're right, it definitely has shifted. I know from when I was querying in March there, which is probably maybe at the height of when, the agents were receiving all the submissions. I would say it was probably about half as well that responded in the end. And then the rest didn't. And it's interesting because obviously I have a relationship with a lot of the agents as well through Right Mentor. And it seems that, it doesn't matter like who you are or whatever else, like if they're just so busy that they can't get back to you, then nobody's going to be getting a response, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And you're right, that's something for people to bear in mind when they're querying just now, is no response doesn't mean they hated it or it's terrible or anything. It's just the level of submissions that they're receiving at the moment.
Yeah, but I have found that the ones that have responded have generally put in something personal. So they've taken the time to write something personal and give me some nice feedback. So that's been a nice change as well, because before it was just form rejection. So I'm finding the ones that do write write something personal, and that's really appreciated when you get that.
It makes such a difference, doesn't it? Just it cushions the blow a little bit, and gives you some encouragement, obviously, going forward.
Yeah, definitely.
So what if you had to give the people listening sort of one bit of advice to keep in the forefront of their mind as they're going forward in querying and handling rejection and then moving on from it? What would be the one thing that you think is the most important thought to keep in your mind?
Find someone that you can talk to. Find another writer friend that understands what you're going through, that can sort of share in that pain, and I suppose it cushions the blow a little bit, doesn't it? Because they know what it's like more than anybody else, and they can really give you that advice that nobody else can. I often don't tell my family or my friends if I've received a rejection, because they don't know what to say, and it's never the right thing, is it? My husband never says the right thing when I get a rejection. So find a writer friend and speak to them.
Yeah, brilliant advice. That is, for me anyway, that's always been the saviour, is being able to share these experiences with other people who have also had that experience and can really empathise. Because I sometimes think if you share with a family member or a friend, they don't really get it, how it is for a writer when they get those rejections. So having a non-related writing friend is so important in those times.
And I think it helps as well. I think it helps as well to see other people's journeys, and people that I've been in a writing group now with for 2 years, and I've seen the rejections that they've had, and I've seen the lows that they've had in their journey, and then I've also seen them go on to get agents and get published. So that's brilliant, and that also gives me motivation as well. Thinking, it's difficult. Yeah, it's difficult for us all, but it's not impossible. So it just gives me more encouragement to carry on.
Yeah, inspired by those around us, and that's one of the amazing things that I love about Right Mentor and being part of all of this is being inspired by and given hope by all the people who do go on to get agents and go on to get published. And I think inspiration can be drawn from those around you. If you are the lonely writer out there who doesn't have a critique group or have any writer friends, I completely agree with you, Krystal. That's the number one thing I'd make sure that you do going forward. It really does help. So the last thing, just to chat to you about today before you go, we'll finish on a positive note. What are your goals going forward then with your writing? What are you hoping to achieve over the next year or so? And how will your experiences from the past hopefully help you on that journey?
I really just want to enjoy my writing for a while now. I think I've been on the the track for a while of submitting and perhaps focusing on that a bit too much. But I really want to just get back to why I started doing this, what I love, and I want to carry on with my non-fiction and maybe start querying that sometime next year, and just expand really and find something that I'm enjoying and just carry on with that. I think that's the main thing. And if an agent never comes or anything like that, that's okay. And it's just a picture book writer to say, it's about the journey and the friends that you make along the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's about enjoying it, isn't it? Because that's what I'm doing it for.
Yeah, definitely. And that's a beautiful note to finish on, I think. Can I just ask one thing before you go, though? I can see a quote on the wall behind you. What does it say?
It says, "You have brains in your head, you have feet in your shoes, you can steer yourself any direction you choose."
Beautiful. And I think we'll finish on that note, Krystal. Thanks so much for joining me for this episode of the Rejection Diaries.
Thank you.